Dah lah, work from home. What content to find? What's up guys, my name is D. Hope all of you guys are doing great. You see, when you go on the road, right, you surely notice that there's actually variation in the siren sound that you have been hearing. But do you really know, how many variation are there, and also what does this sound actually represent? Today in this video we are going to look at 4 types of siren sound. Before we dive deep into the topic, let me give you a little bit of introduction in this siren sound. You see, naturally, right, we humans will put on an alert mode when we hear some sound, particularly a sound of thunder and also sound of a crying baby. And let me tell you what, the fundamental in designing this 4 siren sound, in fact the rest of the siren sound, is actually the sound of crying baby. Now without further ado, let's dive deep into the topic. Alright, let's look at the first siren sound. Now, this siren sound is known as wail or wailing. Wailing basically alternates between high and low sound, but the frequency of this is very low. In other words, I would say it's a very slow paced music. But this means that this kind of sound is actually classified as long sound. What do you mean by a long sound? You see, long sound basically has the ability to cover a very broad radius, which means for places like an empty environment and also Jalan Kampong, right, there won't be any jam. So the ambulance will be traveling in a very high speed. So they need to alert people who are very far ahead, let it be drivers or even pedestrians. Sound like a package deal, but it's actually not. Why is that so? Because this wail siren sound is actually not suitable to be used in urban area, which brings us to the second type of siren sound known as the yelp. Yelp also alternates between high and low sound, but the frequency of this is definitely more than the wail. This type of sound usually being used in urban area and in also places with a very high traffic. Yelp contains short burst sound. Short burst sound can bounce on object very well. So in places like urban place and also high traffic places, right, there's actually a lot of objects. So this sound can bounce on this object and can alert the pedestrian and also the driver. In fact, pedestrians and also drivers, when they hear this sound, they will actually know which direction this vehicle is traveling. But the problem here is that Yelp only cover a very close radius. And this is why we have the third type of siren sound known as hyper yelp. As you can hear, it's very similar to Yelp. But the difference is that the frequency of this is way faster than the Yelp. Which means, in other words, I would say it's a very repetitive sound. Let's say emergency vehicle. By emergency vehicle, I mean like, fire truck, ambulance or even the police vehicle. Let's say this vehicle is not getting its way even after playing the Yelp, then hyper yelp will be used. Now you might be wondering, if Yelp doesn't help, how does the hyper yelp helps? What? Psychologically speaking, right, if we human hear a very intense repetitive sound, it will eventually create some sort of urgency in ourselves, and this will result in a situation where he or she react to a situation very quickly. And this factor in psychology is known as psychoacoustic. This factor in psychology known as this.
Psychoacoustic.
I can't pronounce this. For ambulance specifically, if they are traveling with hyperyelp, it also means that the patient is very critical. Now, let's move to the fourth type of siren sound, which is known as high-low. As you can hear, this sound is way different than the other three. In fact, it is rarely used, simply because high-low will only be used for extremely critical situations. Again, there is no specific place or location where high-low will be used, but in situation where there is more than one vehicle with their siren on, then high-low will be used to signal the people around them. And remember, if a vehicle is traveling with a high-low siren, even the VVIP have to make way for them. With that being said, it kind of wrap up the entire video. But before that, here's something for the audience and also Malaysian in general. You see, Malaysia, we are so kind. When we see any police vehicle or any vehicle traveling with a, siren, right, we always bagi them jalan one. But then after that, we follow them belakang. But that's your choice. So I hope what I share with you guys today, kinda add some knowledge to you. And if you really like the video, please do kill the like button, comment if you have more to say, and share with your friends and family. Until then, stay tuned with Cilisos current issue tambah pedas.